Hey gang, Will here from the Ashland Fly Shop, and today we're talking about trout fly lines for the 2017 season. So if you walked into the shop and you were looking for a new line for your trout rod for the year, these are probably the 4 lines that we would point to in that regard. So let's take a look. The real perennial of the group and kind of the gold standard, if you will, is the Rio Gold. It's just a phenomenal fly line, a very standard all-around trout line. It just performs in many, many types of conditions. I personally feel like the Rio Gold is a little bit better if you're just doing more standard overhead casting, you know, just straight kind of false casting, overhead casting with dry flies, dry dropper rigs, you know, things like this. This fly line really, really excels at that. If you have a very, very fast fly rod, there might be another choice for you, but if you have a very standard, you know, moderate to fast action fly rod, the Rio Gold is just probably your best all-around choice. It's $74.95 and has been for forever, and it's just a really, really wonderful line. Every time I use it throughout the season, I'm always just reminded of how much I really enjoy this line. The Scientific Angler MPX line is a line that we added to our inventory a couple years ago, and it really kind of picks up where the Rio Gold takes off. It's about a half a line size heavier, so it's going to give the angler a little bit more feedback. It has a little bit more compact taper in the front, a little bit more of an aggressive weight forward taper. And I like to talk to folks about this line when they have a fairly fast rod, like a moderate fast or even a fast action rod. This is I think a little bit more versatile taper for roll casting, indicator nymphing, but it's still going to lay out dries really nice as well. Maybe not the best choice for your like really small dries and sipping trout, but really just a great standard all-around taper. That's a half a line size heavy, so it's gonna load up the rod just a little bit more for you and give you that little extra performance out of the rod. The Scientific Angler MPX at $74.95, great all-around choice. Very versatile line. The Rio Grande is a line we've had for many years, and it's a line that we really like as well. It's a similar type of taper to the MPX. It's a pretty aggressive forward taper. Again, a little bit more grains in the front, a little bit more of a weight forward style line, kind of aggressive front taper. This line, you need to know, is a full line size heavier. So this is for your fastest action rods. So any rod that's out there that's kind of a cutting edge rod, really fast taper, really quick tip, this is the rod you're going to want. It's going to be especially good if you're casting like hoppers and stone flies, you know, banging flies from the to the bank from the boat or something like that. That's where this line's really going to excel. And sometimes, you know, if we like to overline rods fairly aggressively, then this is a really good choice in that trout series. So the Rio Grande, $74.95, looking for a very versatile all-around taper that's going to load up the rod, you know, pretty significantly. The Rio Grande's a great choice. Scientific Angler's Anadro fly line is a real favorite of ours. We actually use it mostly for steelhead fishing, but they do make it down into much smaller sizes, starting at a 5 weight. So this is an excellent line if you do a lot of nymph fishing, a lot of roll casting, indicator nymphing, and if you're exploring single-hand spay techniques. This is a fantastic line. Has a good aggressive weight forward taper and a really long back taper, so you can stack mend really far out. And it's a really great line. I typically upline it by 1, but you know, it depends on the rod. You know, if you have a nice fast rod or a little bit longer rod, this is just a perfect nymph rod. It's actually a great line for you know, fishing stone flies, hoppers, anything that's a little bit bigger and bushy. That's a really excellent line for that type of stuff. Of course, it hits the wall at, you know, presenting small dries and things like that. So so just an excellent line, $79.95 from Scientific Anglers, and a real favorite. So these are the 4 trout lines that we would suggest if you came in looking for a new fly line for your 2017 trout season. These tapers cover pretty much every rod action made, and these are just really wonderful premium lines that are going to really enhance the performance of any fly rod. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.